The call came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was trying to convince both of my 2-year-old twins that crayons were for paper, not walls. "Ms. Harlow," the doctor said, "your test results are back. We need to schedule surgery as soon as possible." For a moment, everything around me went silent except for the sound of my daughter, Lily, giggling as she drew a purple line across the kitchen cabinet. My son, Noah, was trying to feed cereal to the dog. I sank into a chair, clutching my phone tighter. "Surgery?" I repeated. "How soon?" "This Friday. We don't want to delay it." "Friday. 3 days away." I thanked the doctor, hung up, and stared at the mess in front of me. 2 toddlers. No husband. No backup plan. My ex, Darren, had vanished before the twins were even born. Child support came in when he felt like it, and that was the extent of his parenting. For the last 2 years, it had been just me, working remotely during nap times, stretching every paycheck, surviving on caffeine, and sheer stubbornness. I had exactly one thought: my parents. They lived only 20 minutes away in the same town. They were retired, healthy, and loved posting photos online about being blessed grandparents. My mother's social media was basically a shrine to the twins. Every holiday, every birthday, every staged cookie baking session, they acted like the world's most devoted grandparents. Surely, for something like surgery, they'd help. I called my mom first. She answered on the 3rd ring, sounding cheerful. "Hi, sweetheart. How are my babies?" I almost laughed at the irony. "Mom, I just got some medical news. I need surgery on Friday. It's not optional. I need someone to stay with Lily and Noah for a day or 2 while I'm in the hospital recovering." There was a pause. Then she sighed. "Oh, Friday." Something in her tone made my stomach twist. "Yes, Friday. It's sudden, but the doctor says it can't wait." Well, she stretched the word out. "Your father and I were planning to go to the lake house this weekend." I blinked. "The lake house?" "We've had it planned for weeks. Your father really needs the rest." I looked at the twins. Noah had dumped the cereal onto the floor now. The dog was thrilled. "Mom, I'm having surgery." "I know, honey, and that's awful, but you really should have given us more notice." The words hit me like a slap. "More notice?" I said, my voice shaking. "I found out 10 minutes ago." She made that impatient clicking sound with her tongue, the one she used whenever I was being dramatic. "Well, maybe you can ask a friend. Or hire a sitter." A sitter. For 2 toddlers. Overnight. On 3 days' notice. While I was being wheeled into surgery, I swallowed hard. "Okay," I said quietly. She must have heard the change in my voice, because suddenly she sounded defensive. "It's not that we don't want to help, but we're not as young as we used to be. Twins are a lot. You know that." Funny how they weren't a lot when she wanted matching Christmas photos for Facebook. I ended the call before I said something I'd regret. Then I called my dad directly, hoping maybe he hadn't heard the conversation and would talk sense into her. He answered with his usual gruff, "Yeah." I explained everything again. His response was even shorter. "Your mother already told me. We're not canceling our trip." I gripped the counter so hard my knuckles turned white. "Dad, I need surgery." And I thought I'd misheard him. "And I need help with your grandchildren." He gave a dry chuckle. "You chose to have kids. They're your responsibility, not ours." I felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room. I couldn't speak for a second. Then he added, as if he were doing me a favor, "You're 32, Emma. Time to stop expecting us to bail you out." I hung up. I didn't cry. Not right away. I finished cleaning the cereal off the floor. I scrubbed the crayon off the cabinet. I changed Noah's diaper while Lily clung to my leg asking for juice. Then, after I tucked them into their nap cribs and the house finally went quiet, I sat on the bathroom floor and cried so hard I thought I might throw up. I wasn't crying because of the surgery. I was crying because some small part of me, some stupid, hopeful part, had really believed my parents would care. That evening, after I had managed to stop crying and was pretending to be okay, my phone rang. The caller ID made me freeze. Grandpa, my father's father. I answered, trying to sound normal. Hi, Grandpa. His voice was gentle but direct. Your mother called me. My chest tightened. Of course she had. Probably to complain about how unreasonable I'd been. He continued. She said you were upset because they couldn't babysit. I laughed bitterly. That's one way to put it. There was a long silence. Then Grandpa asked the question that changed everything. What kind of surgery, sweetheart? And for the first time all day, someone sounded like they actually cared about the answer. My throat tightened. It's to remove a mass they found during testing. I said quietly. They said it may be benign, but they won't know until they operate. Silence. Not the awkward kind. The kind that feels heavy, like someone on the other end is holding back anger. Then Grandpa spoke, his voice lower than before. And your parents know that. I wiped my face with the back of my hand. Yes, I told them. Another pause. Then I heard the scrape of his chair, like he had stood up too fast. Pack a bag for the twins. He said. I blinked. What? For the weekend. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Grandpa, you don't have to. Yes, I do. His tone wasn't loud, but it had the kind of finality that made arguing impossible. Before hanging up, he added one more sentence. And don't call them again. I'll handle your parents. 30 minutes later, his old pickup rolled into my driveway. At 81, Grandpa still moved slower than he used to, but that night, he climbed out of that truck with more purpose than I'd seen in years. He brought a grocery bag full of coloring books, applesauce pouches, and 2 stuffed bears. The twins adored him instantly as he helped carry their overnight things inside. He looked at me carefully. You shouldn't be standing here worrying about this, he said. Your job is to get well. Let me worry about the rest. I didn't know what he meant by the rest. I found out the next morning when my mother called me 7 times in a row, and when I finally answered, she was furious. Did you tell Grandpa we refused to help? She snapped. Before I could answer, I heard another voice in the background, Grandpa's, and he was not speaking quietly. I pulled the phone away from my ear as Grandpa's voice thundered through the line. I raised your father better than this. Or at least I thought I did. Your daughter is going into surgery, and all you care about is a lake house. My mother stammered something, but he cut her off. No, you don't get excuses. When family needs you, you show up, especially when children are involved. Then came the part I'll never forget. Grandpa said, if strangers can care more for my great-grandchildren's mother than her own parents, that says everything about you. Silence. Absolute silence. And when I arrived home after surgery 2 days later, I learned Grandpa had said it all standing in their living room, face to face. My parents wouldn't even look at me when Grandpa drove me home. Mom stood on the porch, pale and tight-lipped. Dad stared at the driveway like it had suddenly become fascinating. Grandpa just handed me my bag.